Yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, my friends. This is your coach for life, Reshma. Back again today with another live interview with another expert in her field, Sarah Wade. Now, Sarah here is a friend of mine, and we have known each other for almost about 2 years now. We did the prep course together. That's where we met. I got to meet your lovely daughter as well at that moment. I remember. She's very cute. And then we've been in this journey of in our coaching business and growing and healing others as well as healing ourselves and moving forward with our lives as well. And it has been an incredible kind of journey with you, like witnessing how you've grown, Sarah, and also your support as well. Like we've been just there for each other, and it's just been a great journey. So I will just introduce a little bit about you. I'll give a little bit of a bio to our viewers, and then I will let you speak, I suppose. I'll be asking lots of questions anyway.
Excellent.
So in a world where external validation is high, when many people look for the meaning of life or happiness from others, materialistic things, and other external sources, Sarah understands that it is true that looking within is the key. She did not always have this perspective, and at one point Sarah had two choices: stay down or get up and fight to live, through physical and emotional pain to claim her crown. A former self-sabotager with suicidal tendencies, she chose the hard option, fight. Great one. It was then she was introduced to art therapy for the first time in a group situation in a hospital with a badly broken ankle. For the first time, she realized there was a range of doors, angles, and options and she could take, and she could do so in a great harnessing art therapy. She could do so in this group harnessing art therapy. Sorry. This woman with PTSD, anxiety, depression, and other labels amongst, died before realizing how much she had to live for. It was the greatest failure of her life not succeeding in her suicide attempt. Fast forward through years of surgeries, learning to walk again, physio, etc., Sarah started studying psychology, really putting her mind to good use and overcoming huge obstacles to become the proud, resilient woman she didn't think she could ever be. These days, Sarah understands she could have continued to become a victim of her mind, or she could use it to construct a terrific story of triumph in her future, and that is just what she did. Sarah is now a world-class transformational art therapist and certified coach, combining the two in a unique way that sees her clients busting through their constructed beliefs and designing the life that they desire. Sarah, welcome to my talk show. Thank you so much for being here. It's so good to see you and have you, and being able to finally ask you some questions about art therapy. Look, this interview maybe I'm saying it for other people, but you know what? It's for myself because I get to learn as well.
Let's dig deeper into that.
Yeah, totally. Because learning, there's always so many new things to learn, and you have to always have an open mind, right? So art therapy has, to be honest, I've just seen you becoming so successfully doing this, and growing in this, and you have a great client testimonials and everything. But I have never come across this, and to be honest, I'm not a very great person in arts anyway. So just tell us a little bit about what is art therapy in its core, and how does it help people?
Okay, well, in a nutshell, you don't have to be good at art. So you who can draw a stick figure, you can draw a line, you who can blow through a straw, you can do art therapy. It's amazing because you can do art therapy anywhere between 3 years old and like 103 or beyond. There's no limits. It's just you expressing yourself in a completely non-judgmental way, without critique, without the BS of outside life. It's about exploring you and getting to know you in a beautiful way. It's so cool. Basically, it's art meets psychology and then squished together. She said she squishes Play-Doh in her hands.
So tell us, how does it work? Like art meets psychology. That's such an interesting subject. So tell us, how does it amalgamate?
Well, look, we both know that art predated language, yeah? So, cavemen would put symbols and signs up on the walls, and that would be to help themselves or other people who went to that cave as they explored in their nomadic journeys. So in art therapy, we use symbols, we use metaphors, we use a range of things to convey our feelings in a way that we don't actually have to use our words, which is really beautiful, because often, have you ever noticed that you just don't have the words to express yourself?
Yeah.
We all do. We all experience that. And that's when art therapy is like so powerful, because it just digs to that beautiful subconscious level where you just like amazed and you have all these aha moments. You're like, oh, why didn't I do that before? Then you're like, it's all right. I forgive myself. Now I do. Move on.
Right. And so what kind of arts do you use? Like, is it painting, drawing? What kind of arts do you use?
It can literally be so many things, like anything that you expect to find in an artist room, or even like in a school art centre. You know, you'll find that in art therapy. And we'll also do things like using sand, or using Play-Doh, or even tea bags. Tea bag art's been interesting in the past. So too, using wool and sticks. And literally, there are no boundaries with art therapy. If you can think it, you can do it.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell me a little bit about this tea bag therapy. What does that include? I'm interested.
Well, since COVID's begun, and look, a lot of art shops sold out really quickly, because people know that art is therapeutic. You know, you do it by yourself and you get this relaxing feeling. So in art therapy, there's three things. I'll get back to that in a second. But in art therapy, there's three things. So there's not only the artist or the client, there's the image and the art therapist. And that gets people, when they're using their art, to a different level. So art as therapy when you're by yourself versus art therapy, they're completely different. So because all the shops were closed due to restrictions, or because they've all run out of all the supplies on the shelf, I started investigating new things that people can use for art therapy. So tea bags were one of the things. So also I looked at people who are using makeup. I looked into different apps. So a lot of my clients are now using comic book apps to create, which is really cool. It's missing the sensual qualities. So, you know, obviously Play-Doh or clay, you know, you get that out. We might find it playful. Or the fluidity of paints, or the grittiness that is maybe sand, or listening to all sorts of beans and things shape in a shaker that you create. There's just no boundaries, and that's what's really cool about it. So the tea bag art was really interesting, because we ran out of art supplies, or because my client actually ran out of art supplies. So we looked at what she had in her home. And so she had pasta, she had toilet rolls, and she had tea bags. So we used tea bags, and because, you know, when you put like the tea bag first into the water, it makes a different colour to when it's been steeping for a while. Yes. So we used that system to create different tones, and she was able to express herself with the tea, and making stains with the actual tea bags itself, or the bottom of the cup, to create these beautiful circle patterns. And it was a really cool exploration for both of us, actually.
Wow, how creative. You're a very, very creative coach, which is great. Like, you know, that probably is a benefit of being into arts, right? Because it just triggers the creative part of your mind. And I know when your creative part of the mind is triggered, all of your thinking and critical mind kind of slows down, neurologically speaking as well.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's what helps with the healing and soothing effect as well, I suppose, right? Because you're more into that creative, you know, relaxed kind of state.
Yeah. So usually you'll have a dominant side of your brain. So art therapy will access both sides of your brain, because it's a holistic approach. So it gives you a break, and it helps you to make decisions without even thinking of it. Because often we get decision fatigue, and that happens to all of us. There's only so many decisions that we can make in a day. So accessing that subconscious side through art therapy enables you to make more decisions and more clarity in those decisions too.
Yeah, that's interesting. So tell me a little bit about an aha moment for a client, or for yourself as well, that when you were doing that therapy itself, when you were using the art therapy, how did it contribute to an aha moment, and how did it change their life or their course of direction for that purpose?
I can think of so many examples right now.
Give me one.
Only one? Oh, that's boring. So yeah, look, it can help you make decisions. So if you're not sure, you know, do I take the job or not? You know, you can literally time travel using art therapy. It's like, if you're a Doctor Who fan, but it's like you've got a timey-wimey device, which is what the doctor would call it. So you can use your timey-wimey device and put yourself into the future in different situations. And, you know, what would happen if you close that door but open a new one? And behind that door, how would you feel? Do you want to close it or do you want to keep it open? So literally at times I'll ask people to cut doors into their images. So it's a way of, it's a boundary. It's a way of keeping things in or keeping others out. And just to explore the different options, because you can magnify, you can make things get further away, you can change the perspectives. It's just, there's just so many benefits. And because you can see into the future like that, you're actually able to save time and see how you would feel if you did continue into this new job or new relationship or whatever's on the table.
Wow. Yeah, okay. That kind of makes sense now, like how it would be transformational for people because yeah, it allows you to get into this, put yourself in a new situation and like creating a little bit of an imaginary scenario, and like so you feel like you're more on top of the situation. Most of the people, they get overwhelmed because they don't know what to expect, and so this kind of helps you be a little bit imaginary. And also I suppose on a quantum level as well, it might help you because you are kind of creating your future in that aspect, right? Because you're imagining it and you're letting it happen in that in a very powerful way. So yeah, that makes sense as well. Totally.
You can literally see the steps that you might need to get to that next level of growth that you were trying to achieve. Or you can picture yourself or asking somebody else, how did you get there? Because I want to get there. Because the image can talk to you. You know, it could whisper, it could shout, just have a conversation like we're having now. But because of the freedom, you're really able to look at it and really get in deep.
Wow, I would really like to experience that, Sarah. I have never done that.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my God, that would probably be so intense and so different, like such a great experience. Just like listening at it, I'm like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah. Well, you know, like even if you have like a pair of scissors and paper, you can do art therapy, you know, like I just dropped all my things that I was going to show you, but this one stayed. So this is just three pieces of paper in all honesty. So being stuck together at the back with some glue.
Yeah.
And at the front for these bits. And just using a pair of scissors, I was able to convey an emotion. And I'm not going to share what that is with you because this is about me.
Yeah.
And art therapy is completely subjective. So what you see might not be what I see, and that's totally fine. So as an example, if I see what obviously looks like a dog who's in pain, I'm not going to say that. Or it obviously looks like there's an argument between two parties in the image. I won't say that because that's not for me to do. It's for you to experience. So as I was creating things to share with people, you know, I looked at this from behind and I thought, wow, this actually kind of looks like a key or an idea. And it's like it's spreading out. But from this side, you know, it looks like something completely different.
Yeah.
You know? And that is what's so cool, is because you can change the perspective. You can see literally and physically see things from different angles. And you're like, oh, this part here I'm really interested in, not so much the rest. So you can get a new bit of paper or you can get a completely new art supply and explore that part in more detail.
Right. And then you probably, like whatever you make, it comes like a natural thing, I suppose. And then like you kind of look at it and then you kind of make sense of the emotions or what you're feeling based on what you created, right? Something
Absolutely,
like that.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Look, there are so many good, amazing therapies and healing modalities out there. And obviously, I do a couple of them, hypno and timeline therapy, which you are a master as well. We both completed our course and everything. So a lot of people, like, you know, a lot of people struggle with depression and anxiety and so many mental health issues, like a lot of stress levels and everything. And in the past, probably there wasn't as many options for healing and, you know, regulating your emotions and everything as well. But now there's so much options available. And I just wanted to share this with you, you know, because I think there's not just one way to getting things done, right? So if you were to choose, which one would you think is more powerful for you, art therapy or neuro-linguistic programming?
I use NLP in art therapy because we've learned how to get really quality questions, you know, how to dig deeper. So as a transpersonal art therapist, before I did NLP, I had great skills, but NLP was able to help me to really dig deeper into what the client was expressing, what they were saying, and to help them in a more powerful way. Same with hypnotherapy, because you know I was shown the shamanic approach to art therapy. So we use guided meditations quite often. So one of the reasons that I signed up for the hypnotherapy course was because I wanted to really access why certain language worked and to really understand the process of the whole thing. And again, you know, that enabled me to dig deeper. So for every person who comes to me, even if it was the same person that came to me with anxiety or depression or whatever mental health issue they have, you know, I might do something different at each time, because it's really important to tune into the person that you're working with, because that builds trust and rapport, obviously. But you're not going to get that same level of insight or clarity that you would if you didn't tune into them on the day.
Agreed, 100%. I have clients as well, and like, you know, we finished the like for some of the clients that I finished my entire set coaching sessions with, and they come in as a repeat clients, and then we, you know, every time we get into this new situation and they discuss new thing with me, every time we talk, meet, and then like how you said that you have to be able to just get into that person and like, you know, use different ways of trying to understand their problem and their situation and like find the best way to help them. Sometimes it could be neuro-linguistic programming, sometimes it could be metaphor, sometimes it could be just listening to them, make them feel heard, and whatever it is, right? So it's so true. And having multiple qualifications under your belt, I think it's I think even empowered you even more, I suppose. And I can feel it in your in whatever you're saying. But like how you said that NLP kind of complemented that art therapy, is just like just that missing piece, isn't it? NLP is so freaking powerful. It's just, yeah, in any situation, I think like NLP has been absolutely life changing for me, and I'm pretty sure it is the same for you as well. And see, like I truly think that it would have, like when you said that it's taken it to the next level, I truly think that it should have, because I know how powerful it is. And then like, as you mentioned, how you use it to ask powerful questions and, you know, and understand them, and the use of language is just mind blowing. So yeah, absolutely no doubt about how powerful that system must have been for your clients.
Yeah, and without a doubt, like every single one of my clients get the results that they want. And that's because of all the modalities that I've got behind me and how I use them to best support their therapeutic goal.
Absolutely.
Everyone has shown confidence growing, and that's because, you know, art therapy, you can explore either yourself or the situation, and from that you gain this awareness and then builds trust within yourself. And that trust obviously then leads to confidence. So, you know, byproduct of art therapy is enhanced confidence, and who doesn't want that?
Wow, that was something I wanted to ask you actually. How does it help build one's confidence? And you just already answered it. So can we go a little touch down deeper into how you have seen someone being transformed in their self-confidence being really, really low to someone who's really trusting of themselves and like, you know, doing great things. So what kind of process have you seen? Can you walk us through that?
Sure. So currently I'm working with neurotypical people, but in my past I've worked with people with mental health issues and disabilities, physical and intellectual. So I've had this beautiful whole experience seeing people of all ages, of all backgrounds, and actually do art therapy with my 3-year-old too. She doesn't know it's art therapy. We actually had to get over something together. So just before, at the beginning of COVID, I broke up with my ex. We were together for 6 years. And art therapy allowed my daughter to understand things that she couldn't cognitively understand. So she couldn't express what she needed to. You know, she's a 3-year-old, but she could get it out. And it's the same, like I've watched clients who, one particular man probably came to me very close to suicide. You might have heard of a K10 score, so it's the same sort of thing that you would do if you would go to a GP to be assessed to get a mental health plan in Australia. So he came to me and I do a similar score. So out of 41 questions, you know, he scored 38 on the negative side. And in the space of probably about 10 weeks, we revisited that, and he had 4 on the negatives. Only 4, not 38. You know,
Yeah.
he completely went from one side to the other. You know, he was able to explore his divorce. He was able to explore drug problems. He was able to explore his anxiety. He was able to explore so much in different mediums, and never actually once did I ask him, what happened in your past? You know, when you go to a psychologist or a counsellor, they're like, what happened?
Wait, hang on. Did you say you never explored his past at all? You never asked him?
So we did
Oh
explore
my
his past,
God.
but because art therapy, you're able to get stuff out of your head. So when you do art therapy, okay, as an example, say this is a thought or emotion that I'm experiencing. This isn't Sarah right now. So I might call this Jane. And what is Jane experiencing? And because I'm able to externalize Jane from Sarah, I'm able to see a different story, or I'm able to sort of look at it with a different bird's eye view. So whilst we did explore the past, it wasn't exactly his past. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, because he could see it from a different perspective, like a different angle, because it was externalized. It was not inside. It was not me. It was like that suffering, everything was for another person. And now he could see it in a different angle. And now he could see what could he have done different, how he was responsible for it, and what learnings to take from it so that he can do better next time.
Yes, yeah.
Amazing.
So that client got to experience timeline therapy with me, as many clients do. And we're able to use words that, like the learnings, I'm sure your clients and mine both know about the learnings that you get. So using that word or a sentence, it's really powerful then to put an image over the top, because you know that word is there. You might be, you know, that you want to be more engaging or be more loving towards yourself, whatever it is. Creating that image over it means that you can hang it anywhere. It could be in your office, it could be in your home, your husband and your kids walking past, it could be your boss walking past. And you know what that means to you, but all they see is an image.
Right. Oh my God, that sounds really, really powerful. Oh my God, I'm just loving it. Sarah, I'm your client. Book me in.
Awesome.
You just signed up a new client. And guys, if you are interested in art therapy, just go to Sarah. She'll blow your mind away. And she will give you the best transformational healing as well. So talking about healing, Sarah, how I know you've shared so much about it. So how important is healing, in your opinion, for people to have a real transformational experience, healing from the past experiences and the baggage? You know, how important do you think it is in that aspect?
Well, I think we both know that holding on to our past isn't serving us. You know, and you know, as someone who's experienced PTSD, you know, I was stuck in that past. As someone who's experienced chronic depression, I was stuck in that past. Yeah. Being able to move forward and to heal, wow, you know, I flourished so much personally, and it's beautiful to witness other people's growth. So healing can happen in a range of ways, and usually it's not just a one fits all sort of method, you know. So when I was physically going through the healing process, I was going to see chiropractors, massage therapists, and swimming. When I added art therapy to the mix, it was amazing. So I'd spent a lot of time, many years in psychology and trying to figure out the stuff that caused the PTSD to happen, like how could I move forward. And art therapy, I literally had 3 sessions and I was like next level. And again, I reached out to a timeline therapist friend in the States, and I was at the point where I felt quite comfortable with the experience that I had. I had an old man die in my arms, on top of a range of other things that it was complex PTSD. So when I reached out to her, I thought that I'd gotten over it, you know, and then she was able to use timeline therapy to really get to the crux of it. And it was like such a relief. And again, I did art therapy after that because it allowed me to to trust in myself and to build that confidence and to let go of that which I'd held on for so long that really wasn't serving me.
Yep, absolutely. As you were sharing your story, I remembered myself. I was suffering from PTSD as well. And one of the emotions that I was holding on to really, really badly was fear, because my fear was the root of my PTSD and I was not willing to let go. It was my secondary gain. And you wouldn't believe, during my prac course, one of the volunteers, I won't take her name, but I know her name, who she was. She literally had to kick my ass and tell me, like, if you don't do this, get out of here. And I was like, no, okay, I'll do it. You know, because I was so stubborn. Like, this was my second attempt in doing timeline therapy, and I just wasn't willing to release, because I had identified myself so much with that fear. And the secondary gain for having that fear was the sympathy from other people. Like, with what I went through, I had a traumatic abusive relationship, and I almost lost my life. I had a massive trauma, and so I wasn't willing to let go, because I thought that fear was protecting me, right? And if I let go, I'll be more vulnerable. That's and weak. You know, I won't be able to protect myself. So that's one thing. And the secondary gain was obviously wanting that what do you call, like, that sympathy from people when I share my story, like my victim story. Like, you know, when you want to share your victim story and get that sympathy and validation. So that's what that my secondary gain was. At that time, I didn't see it, and it really took a great coach to kick my ass and tell me, Reshma, if you're not doing, get out of there here. And I was like, no, I want to change my life. I want to change my life. And like, it took that conscious effort and saying this, yes, I want to do this, and yes, I can do this. And then I could release it subconsciously. Like, and you know what? It's so interesting. I found that in one of my first clients who had, like, exactly, he wouldn't let go. He absolutely wouldn't let go. It challenged me so much. But then I've grown so much out of it as well. Like, I understand people's how people think, and I like when they're holding on to something and not letting their past go, and how it is keeping them at a effect, so to say, right? So that was a very what do you call it? A very memorable moment for me. And had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be where I am today. So the power of healing, hey, because I let go of everything in the past. I forgave everyone and everything, and then life just took like acceleration forward. Before that, it wasn't. It was just slow. It was going, and a lot of people, I hear a lot of people say, time heals everything, and I'm like, bullshit. Time doesn't heal anything. Time just helps you minimize, like, you know, feel better about it. Like, you know, it feels better with time, but it's still there, and it's heavy, and your entire life is affected, you know. And that's one of the things that I've been trying to convey to people as well, you know. So time doesn't heal anything, right? But actually therapy does.
Yeah. And a lot of what you just said, like, if people had told me this, say, 10, 15 years ago, I would have called bullshit, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when, like my story, talking about myself, if I knew that a life coach could help me get out of my PTSD, because I suffered with PTSD as well, I would have just tell them, here is, take my money and heal me, like, you know, straight away. now, like, you know, before it, at that moment, obviously I didn't know what options are available, and that someone could actually help me at that deeper level and help me transform to a new person. Had I known that I could be this person 3 years before, when I had PTSD for 3 whole years, at the start of it, I would have said, here, take my money and heal me, please.
That's relatable. You know, there's so many things that we know that we know, so many things we know we don't know, and then there's things that we don't know, we don't even know. So, you know, art therapy was one of those things to me. So was timeline therapy. So was NLP at one stage. You know, we were all sort of aware of, you know, going to a counsellor or a psychologist to express yourself. You know, I've run into people who do drama therapy and song therapy. I've run into all sorts of amazing creative ways to express yourself. There's really not one size fits all, but having that holistic approach is a beautiful thing, because you're able to just let go and to find solace in whatever you need to find solace in.
Exactly. And the key is in letting go, isn't it? Just let go and accept of what has happened, acknowledge, and just, you know, move forward. And because as long as you don't let go, you cannot, you know, absolutely do move forward in your life. You're holding on to something. It's like it acts like a chain, like an anchor that just pulls you down. You can't fly.
And you'll often repeat that same cycle or process, or you'll meet someone else who's got that same stuff going on, and you're like, again, why do I keep attracting this? And you're like, well, actually, maybe I just haven't dealt with it properly, or maybe there's something that I need to explore more, and then suddenly you're attracting something else in your life.
Yeah, and you know what? People take it to the next level saying, this is who I am. This is my pattern. I know this is my pattern. And so, for example, someone starts it really with a great enthusiasm, something like a new habit, or like, a New Year's resolution or something. And then like 2 or 3 days or weeks later, they're like, yeah, I can't be bothered. And then like they just leave it completely, drop out of it. And then like they do it enough times to identify themselves with that habit. And they know that it's a bad habit. They know that they should change it, but still they are like not willing to do anything about it. They're like, this is just who I am. I can't be bothered with it, And it just makes me so, I don't know, angry, because I know that it's I can see that it's totally like limiting them, but people are not willing to accept that, because accepting is harder than actually, like, accepting that the habit is easier than accepting that I need to change and actually doing something about it. Yeah. And so, life just goes in an endless loop like that.
Which is exactly, when you did my introduction, that's exactly what I experienced. Things just kept going round and round, and I found myself, suicidal ideation every day. Suicide attempt was the best failure of my life, because I was able to access art therapy in the hospital. Yeah. This led me down this most amazing path. So that adage that you can't teach knowledge or new tricks. What a load of crap. You can, I've met so many people who've been studying who close to or into their retirement years, so many people who changed the course of their life because they weren't satisfied in one area or another. You can choose to change your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors. And what happens when you do that is you level up. And it's like, when you play a computer game as your kid or as an adult, depending on who you are, you've got the controls which might represent your life. And in art therapy, I might ask you, what is that X button? The X is the one that we might hit constantly, go or, accelerate or whatever it is, the program that you're playing. And so you're able to access the controls, and then you level up because you beat that bad guy. You're on the next level of thoughts or actions or behaviors, actions and reactions. And then you level up again. It's a really beautiful thing that we can facilitate for others.
Yeah, totally. Being a coach, that's the privilege that we get, right? To see people change and how they heal from one level to another. And then healing kind of never stops as well. Like I have experienced myself. We just grow one layer after another, like an onion, like layers of onion, right?
So I was literally just thinking onion. That's so
exactly.
Cool.
So just we peel one layer, and then there's another layer to peel, and then another layer to peel. There's just so much to grow. It's just, as you said, there's so many things that we don't know. We're so unknown of what we don't know. And then like the more you discover, the more aware you become, the better human being you become. And then being a coach, to see that in other people is just so rewarding as well.
And also knowing like when to push someone or when to be gentle with them.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you have to kick asses, and sometimes you have to just be gentle and allow them the time that they need. Yeah. So
and particularly in art therapy, we were trained not to enforce our beliefs or push the person. It's a very at your pace thing. Whereas coaching is very, very fast.
Yeah.
So combining the two is quite beautiful to witness, because you do it at an appropriate time for the person, because you can see, I've just had an aha moment. My onion has just peeled to the next level, or it's gone down a few. And then you can push them if they're ready.
Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable time and your valuable knowledge, Sarah. We've had that half an hour up. If you have any questions for me, I'm here, happy to answer. If not, we will be heading towards terminating the live.
So you were talking about your experience with PTSD. Was it NLP and timeline therapy that actually got you to that next level, or have you discovered something in between?
Totally NLP. So I'll tell you what happened. So I was struggling with PTSD for, as I said, for 3 years. And there came a time when I was like, okay, at first I used to say, okay, time will heal, because I was like anyone, like everyone else, right? Time will heal me. It's okay. I went through a massive thing. It was not an easy thing. So with time, it will be okay. It will be better. And then 3 years passed by and I still was having nightmares. Like, it wasn't as frequent as it used to be at first, but every 2 weeks or every month, like that incident was just, my brain was bringing that incident in my dreams to resolve, asking for a resolution, resolve this, and as much as I thought that I had my life sorted, that was just pulling me back and making me unhappy for the whole day. I couldn't sleep all night after that nightmare and blah, blah, blah. The whole day used to be ruined. I was pretty much all the way back into square zero where I was in that trauma. That's where it took me. The emotions I was so much trying to hide and like put behind me. It was keeping on coming in front of me and telling me, hey, I need a resolution on this. My brain was telling me this and I couldn't understand at that time. So I was like, that's it. If time was supposed to heal this, then this would have healed long time ago. I've allowed myself enough time. I'm gonna have to find answers. And so in my process of finding answers, what happened was literally this book dropped in my lap. Tony Robbins. Now, literally not, not literally, but you know what I mean. It just came like out of nowhere. So Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within, and that's where he introduces. I know, right? Neuro-linguistic programming. He had a little technique to get rid of your limiting beliefs, like, some questions that you go through, the table analogy and everything. And I literally used that, and I understood what was the cause of my PTSD. It was a limiting belief that I'm not safe. I never felt safe ever since I went through that life-threatening trauma. And so that was where it was coming from. And so I identified the references of where this limiting belief is coming from. And then I changed the references. I used the methods of incantation and morning affirmations, and all of that to reinforce my new references. And then within myself, inside, I knew that my nightmares are gone. Like, I didn't have to wait for a week to a month to know that I will not have these nightmares anymore. I just knew it from inside that it's not going to be me anymore. I didn't identify myself with that anymore. So that was my first introduction to NLP, and it just blew my mind, because something that I had been struggling for 3 years, it just completely just vanished like that, with just one little simple thing in a book. Like, I didn't have to pay a lot of money. I didn't have to go for multiple visits to a doctor. It just was so powerful. And that's what put me into like, wow, what is this stuff? So freaking powerful. I want to learn more about this. And then I signed up for NLP, and you know what? That just completely blew my life away into a totally different tangent. I never thought about being a life coach before that. That's the moment when I got like that fear. You remember I told you just earlier about how I got rid of my fear. That's the second time when the coach kicked my ass. That's when I got the clarity, because I let go of everything completely at that moment. And that's when I got the clarity that I want to help with my skills that I have now, to get other people that transformation that I got. And that's when I decided to be a life coach. So that has been the power of NLP in my life. And literally, I have helped clients through suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, all sorts of issues, and amazing results, amazing transformations. So yeah, NLP is just amazing.
Yeah. And even using it with like friends and families, like or work colleagues is possible, like understanding the language that they're using so that you can have a better relationship with your partner,
Oh,
as an example, like you might treat people like you want to be treated, but the person that you're with might want to be treated some way different. Like love languages, as an example, with your couple, but if you listen to that other person's verbal language and witness their body emotions and their tone of voice, you're really able to dig deeper into what they truly want, and that might not be what they're actually expressing.
Yeah, totally. I have used that a lot in my relationship, because my partner, he's not into personal development world, into coaching and stuff like that. And he doesn't understand the language that I use some of the times. But knowing the NLP has really enabled me to understand what he's trying to say. what he's really trying to say, or what he's feeling, and what does he need at that stage, and like being very patient as well in terms of like not judging him. Previously I used to be quick to judge him, like, you know, being, I don't know, he used to call me that you just judge, you know, you judge. And then now, like, because I've trained myself not to judge, because I don't judge my clients, so I don't judge him as well. And so I've become a better listener. Have become a better, you know, just I take things for what they are, instead of making assumptions and judging, and, you know, and coming up with conclusions. I know when I'm how to regulate my emotions, and if I'm in an angry state, I know that I am not willing to listen, like, because, you know, everyone has their own kind of a way of dealing with anger. And when I don't really get angry at all, I'm a very calm person, always happy. But if I get angry, I am at a stage where I'm not willing to listen to anything, and anything and everything he or anyone says to me, I'll just do selective listening and then use it against them. I know, right? I just do selective listening, and I'm like, so they're trying to say me something, and I'll be like, oh, so you're saying this to me, you know, like I'm just in like a full defensive and attack mode, and I'm like, I know that now. I know where I am at, and I know my patterns. I know what my weaknesses, and I say to him, if I'm in that mode, I'll be like, look, I'm not in a stage to have a good, proper conversation. Anything that you will say, I'm just going to take negative meanings out of it, you know, and we're just gonna have a bigger fight. So give me some time to cool down. I'll just cool down, and then let's have a conversation. And it works all the time, like, you know. So NLP has just made me a better person in that aspect. And yeah, so lesser arguments in the relationship as well.
Good. That's really amazing that it can be used in so many different applications, and that it's helping your relationship. That's great.
Yeah. The more we talk about it, it's not going to be enough, honestly. NLP, I just can keep on talking about it all day.
I know, yeah. We'll block up Facebook and no one else will be able to do lives.
Yeah, totally. Having said that, I think it's time to go, because it's been 45 minutes. We're on air, which is great, and it has been an interesting conversation with you, Sarah. Thank you so much for your time, guys. If you have any questions for Sarah, more than happy to ask her. Let me just quickly check if there are any questions. So Sunil said, I don't know what he said. I can't understand his language. Gurmit says thank you and great conversation, and there aren't any questions as such, so that's all right. We will leave it to it. And guys, if you have any questions, always put it on the comment section. Either me or Sarah will answer to you, you know, and you know that there is another way of healing yourself and letting go of your past and growing into a better human being, which is art therapy. And if you want to learn and do that, like, feel free to reach out. Sarah, she's in my friends list. You can find easily in my friends, search for Sarah Wade, and you'll find her, and reach out, and she'll be more than happy to help you as well. Right, Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. And I might just pop in the comment. It's okay if you don't want me to, but I can pop in my group, so Sensational Art Therapy and Coaching, and that'll help people to learn more about it. It's a very, very small group. I only started a few weeks ago, so
yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's very accountable and held and loved and supported. So.
Yeah, totally. Go for it. Yeah, and like, I'm all about giving people all the options and making them more aware of what options they have, because some people might really be benefited from one thing, but then the other people may really be feeling that, oh, I need this one. And so I want people and my audiences to be more aware of what kind of therapies and what kind of options they have, and get to choose, right? So more than happy for you to do that.
Awesome. Thank you. It's been good chatting with you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much for coming into the show, Sarah. And thank you so much, everyone, guys, for watching us, supporting us, and commenting. And any questions, comments, as I said, always welcome. And until next time, have a lovely time. Bye.
See ya.